Hi, and welcome to Digital Tech Lab. Today we are going to be working with a photo editor called GIMP. So as you can see, I'm at gimp.org/downloads, and I just want to download GIMP directly. It's going to initialize, and then you're going to go over to File and open the image that you want to edit. So I'm selecting this one, and then it'll probably tell you that it wants you to rotate it. Just go ahead and rotate it if you want, or select Keep Original if you don't. So this is my image, and we're going to be messing with the colors today. So go to the Colors tab, and you can either edit the curves or the levels. I like to use the curves, so we're going to be doing that today. So as you can see, you pull it up, and the first thing that it has is the different channels. So the value channel is what you see here. That's your lights and darks, and then it also has red, green, and blue. So the way that this works is that you can see down here it has mapped all of the lights and darks that are in the photo according to input and output, and the line in the middle is how you adjust. So you select a point on the line and you pull it in one direction to brighten the photo, and you can pull it in the opposite direction to darken the photo, like that. Now obviously that's really drastic, so if you don't want something, you can go ahead and hit the reset button. There are a couple of ways to really add a little bit of depth to your photo in this photo editor. One really popular way is to select what we would call the midtones. So that's the values of light and dark in the middle of your photo, and so you can brighten the whole photo up by pulling it up, and that's a little bit more subtle there. Or you can darken the photo by pulling it down, but that tends to look kind of flat and strange. But I do suggest the lightening if you have, kind of a flat looking photo. Another way is to amplify the highs and to lower the lows. So you're making the brights brighter and the darks darker with this little subtle S curve here. And actually this is a little bit drastic still. You want to make sure that your photo doesn't look quite as edited as it might be. So you just want to knock that down a couple of notches. And of course, if you ever want to know what it looks like compared to the original, there is actually an option by clicking the split view selection right there. So on our right-hand side, you see the original photo, and on the left-hand side, you see my edits. So I'm going to hit OK. The OK button goes ahead and saves that level, so you can go in and adjust your color curves after that. So you have your red option, and you can make the reds redder by pulling it up like that, and then you're actually going to make everything more teal when you pull it down like that. For green, you can make the greens pop by pulling up, and then the magentas and pinks pop by pulling it down. And then with blue, you have your blues when you pull up, and yellows when you pull down. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use the blue channel for a little bit. A popular way to edit your photo is to make the blues pop out in your darker tones. This kind of makes it look a little cooler, a little frostier. So I'm going to do that here. As you can see, I'm sort of fiddling with it here to make it appropriate for this particular photo. Sometimes it'll end up looking a little bit odd if you don't kind of adjust where exactly you want your blue color to be. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to move up to the green, and to sort of balance out that blue, I'm going to select the midtones on this color range, and I'm going to actually try and make the magentas come out a little bit in the midtone just to balance out the reds that are in the leaves there. So as you can see, that pulls just a tiny little bit of pink and purple into the browns in the midtone. So I'm going to keep that, and then I'm going to do something a little similar with the teals. I'm going to look at the midtones here and just pull them out just a little bit. I don't quite want to cancel out everything I've done on the other hand, but I do want to sort of make my teals pop a little bit. As you can see, you can make it kind of really silly looking, and the teals will really overtake the entire picture if you pull down too far, but that's why we're able to adjust, and I like to sort of watch the curve that way. And so then I'm also going to pull the teal out down on the bottom. As you can see, I'm sort of trying to mimic where I pulled out the blue in the lower ranges, just to sort of keep that consistent there and keep the colors from being too overwhelming. And then as you can see, I decided that I didn't actually want to use the red or the teal in those midtones, and I think I'm going to try and pull the teal out of my highlights a little bit more to try and get that sky to look a little more teal, and that's actually what I think I'm going to go with. Now, the last thing I like to do after editing all of the color levels is to look at the brightness and the contrast. And the brightness is, of course, how bright the brights are in your picture, and then the contrast is how much the different levels are disparate from each other, how much they're in contrast with each other. So you can adjust them along these little bars here, and then you can also adjust them up and down with the arrows by the number over to the side. I always like to increase my contrast a little bit just because my phone doesn't take the best pictures, and I think adding contrast adds a little bit of depth. But I always have to be careful because for some reason I always like to edit my pictures a little bit too dark. So I always like to pop that brightness up kind of alongside the contrast. So as you can see, I'm sort of editing them at similar levels. And I gave them just a little bit of boost to sort of give it a little more depth. And that is all that I'm deciding to do on this picture today. You can either save as if you want to come back into GIMP and work on it more, or if you're done, you want to go ahead and export your image as a JPEG, and you are done. That is all today, but there's plenty of stuff you can do on this platform. It's very, very nuanced, so have fun, play around, make your pictures crazy colors, and just really enjoy it. It's a super fun, free tool, and I hope you enjoyed this video.